Hello, I'm Nick Barratt, and this is the second of two short films showing you how you can use English land surveys to trace your ancestors and find out a bit more about their lives. Last time I looked at the 1910 Valuation Office survey, which is great because it hooks up with the 1911 census. This time I want to talk about the 1836 Tithe Act. Now, tithes were payments of produce grown on particular pieces of land in each parish in England, in Wales, and it was handed to the church 1/10 of the value of those products. By the 1820s and 30s, with increasing industrialisation and urbanisation, this wasn't a particularly useful way of keeping clergy supported. So an act was passed in 1836, commuting those payments in kind to fixed monetary rent charges. And to do this, every parish which still paid tithes in kind to the clergy were surveyed, and wonderful maps were drawn out, plotting every single bit of land that paid tithes in this way. These were then given a schedule, if you like, an apportionment, and every bit of land was given a number, and you can follow that in the relevant tithe apportionment schedule. And that will then show you the name of the landowner, the tenant, if it was leased out, the size of the plot of land, and then what it was used for, arable or meadow. So this is a really great way if you've got rural ancestors who might be tenant farmers or living off the land, or perhaps you have landowners themselves with large chunks in every parish. You can try and use the 1841 or particularly the 1851 census to try and plot where your ancestors might have lived. So these are a really good way of connecting early census returns with, should tithe be paid in this way in the parish that your ancestors were living at, a wonderful snapshot of maps and assessments. So it really gets you into the heart of what was going on in the local community. The maps and schedules were made in triplicate. Nowadays we have one set at the National Archives, and most of these records have now been digitised and can be viewed online, either via the National Archives or via the genealogist. But you also will find one, maybe two sets in a county record office as well. So if you do want to look locally, that's the place to go. Now, the great thing about these is that they not only link you into the census, but into the way that land was held in earlier periods. And I'm thinking particularly here of manorial records. So it's a bridging survey between a much earlier way of holding land and passing it through different families or generations, and some of the more modern records that perhaps we're more familiar with. So the tithe apportionments created by the 1836 tithe map are a great source if you want to really get under the skin of where your ancestors lived.